On January 9, 1908, in Paris, France, a baby girl named Simone Lucie Ernestine Marie Bertrand de Beauvoir came into the world. Her birthday fell on a cold winter day, and little did anyone know that this child would grow up to become one of the most influential writers and philosophers of the 20th century. Born into a bourgeois family, Simone's early life was filled with the traditions and expectations of her social class, but even as a young girl, she showed a hunger for knowledge that set her apart from her peers. Simone's father, Georges de Beauvoir, was a lawyer who loved literature and theater. He often read to Simone and her younger sister, Helene, introducing them to the works of Shakespeare, Molière, and Hugo. Her mother, Françoise, was a devout Catholic who valued discipline and proper behavior. This mix of intellectual stimulation and strict religious upbringing shaped Simone's early views on life. She later wrote that her father's love for books gave me the desire to write, while her mother's religious beliefs made her question the role of women in society from a young age. As a child, Simone was a bright student. She attended a Catholic school for girls, where she excelled in languages and philosophy. By the age of 10, she was reading advanced books and debating ideas with her teachers. Her birthday was always a small, family affair. Her mother would bake a cake, and her father would give her a book as a gift. One of her most cherished birthday presents, received when she was 12, was a copy of The Brothers Karamazov by Fyodor Dostoevsky. She later said this book opened my eyes to the complexity of human nature and inspired her to pursue a life of thought. When Simone turned 18, she decided to study philosophy at the Sorbonne, one of the most prestigious universities in France. At the time, very few women attended the Sorbonne, and she faced discrimination from some of her male classmates and professors. But Simone was determined to succeed. She studied long hours, often staying up late in the university library to read and write. In 1929, at the age of 21, she took the aggregation in philosophy, a rigorous exam that would qualify her to teach. She placed second in the country, behind only Jean-Paul Sartre, a young philosopher who would become her lifelong companion. Simone and Sartre met while preparing for the aggregation. They were immediately drawn to each other's intelligence and passion for ideas. They formed a unique relationship, based on mutual respect and a shared commitment to freedom. They never married, and they agreed to have an open relationship. Both were free to love other people, but they always returned to each other. Sartre once said, "Simone is the only woman I have ever loved, and the only woman who has ever understood me." This relationship would last until Sartre's death in 1980, and it would deeply influence both of their work. In 1931, Simone began teaching philosophy at a girls' school in Marseille. She hated the strict rules of the school and the way women were expected to behave. She later wrote that teaching there made me realize how oppressive society is for women and inspired her to write about gender equality. During this time, she also started writing her first novel, She Came to Stay, which was published in 1943. The novel explores themes of love, freedom, and identity, and it draws heavily on her relationship with Sartre and their circle of friends. On her 35th birthday, January 9, 1943, Simone received a letter from her publisher telling her that She Came to Stay had been accepted for publication. It was one of the happiest days of her life. She celebrated with Sartre and a few close friends, drinking wine and discussing the future of her writing. Sartre gave her a pen as a birthday gift, and he told her, "This pen will change the world." Little did he know how right he would be. During World War II, Simone and Sartre were active in the French resistance. They wrote articles for underground newspapers, helped Jewish friends escape Nazi persecution, and attended secret meetings. Simone later said that the war made me realize the importance of freedom and the need to fight for it. In 1945, after the war ended, she co-founded the journal Les Temps Modernes with Sartre. The journal became a platform for existentialist ideas, and it published work by some of the most important writers and philosophers of the time, including Albert Camus and Maurice Merleau-Ponty. In 1949, Simone published her most famous work, The Second Sex. The book is a groundbreaking exploration of women's oppression and the struggle for gender equality. In it, she writes, "One is not born, but rather becomes a woman." This sentence has become one of the most famous quotes in feminist literature, and it has inspired generations of women to fight for their rights. The Second Sex was immediately controversial. Some critics called it immoral and anti-family, but it also received widespread acclaim. It was translated into dozens of languages, and it remains one of the most important books ever written about women's issues. Simone's 41st birthday, in 1949, was a day of celebration. The Second Sex had just been published, and it was already a bestseller. She spent the day with Sartre and her sister, Helene, talking about the book and its impact. Helene gave her a bouquet of roses, and Sartre gave her a copy of his new play, The Devil and the Good Lord, with a dedication that read, "To Simone, who has taught me more about freedom than anyone else." In the 1950s and 1960s, Simone continued to write and lecture. She published several more novels, including The Mandarins, 1954, which won the Prix Goncourt, France's most prestigious literary award. She also wrote essays on politics, ethics, and feminism, and she traveled around the world, speaking about women's rights. In 1963, she visited the United States, where she gave lectures at Harvard University and other prestigious institutions. She was shocked by the discrimination against women in America, and she later wrote an essay about her experiences, America Day by Day. On her 60th birthday, January 9, 1968, Simone received a surprise party from her friends and colleagues. The party was held at a small restaurant in Paris, and guests included Sartre, Camus, who had since fallen out with Sartre but remained friends with Simone, and many other writers and activists. During the party, Simone gave a short speech, in which she said, "I have spent my life fighting for freedom and equality, and I will continue to fight until the day I die." The speech was met with thunderous applause, and it was later published in Les Temps Modernes. In the 1970s, Simone became more involved in the feminist movement. She supported the fight for abortion rights, equal pay, and women's suffrage. She also wrote several more books about women's issues, including Old Age, 1970, and All Men Are Mortal, 1946, which explores the theme of immortality and the meaning of life. In 1979, she published her memoir, Force of Circumstance, which chronicles her life from 1929 to 1945. The memoir was a bestseller, and it gave readers a glimpse into her personal life and her relationship with Sartre. On her 72nd birthday, January 9, 1980, Simone was devastated by the death of Jean-Paul Sartre. He had been ill for several years, and Simone had cared for him until the end. She spent her birthday alone, sitting in their apartment, reading his letters and thinking about their life together. She later wrote, "Sartre's death left a void in my life that can never be filled. But I know that he would want me to continue writing and fighting for the things we believed in." After Sartre's death, Simone continued to write and lecture. She published her last book, Adieu, A Farewell to Sartre, in 1981. The book is a moving tribute to her lifelong companion, and it explores their relationship and the impact they had on each other's work. In 1982, she was awarded the Legion of Honor, France's highest civilian award, for her contributions to literature and philosophy. She was the first woman to receive this award for her writing. On her 78th birthday, January 9, 1986, Simone's health began to decline. She had been suffering from pneumonia, and she was hospitalized for several weeks. Her friends and family visited her regularly, and she spent her birthday reading and talking to them. She told her sister, Helene, I have lived a full life, and I have no regrets. I have fought for what I believe in, and I have loved deeply. That is all anyone can ask for. Simone de Beauvoir died on April 14, 1986, at the age of 78. She was buried next to Jean-Paul Sartre in the Montparnasse Cemetery in Paris. Thousands of people attended her funeral, including writers, philosophers, and activists from around the world. Her legacy lives on in her work, which continues to inspire people to fight for freedom, equality, and justice. Looking back on her life, Simone once said, "My birthday is a reminder of the gift of life, and the responsibility we have to make the most of it." She lived her life with passion and purpose, and she left a lasting impact on the world. Her books have been read by millions of people, and her ideas have shaped the feminist movement and the way we think about gender, freedom, and identity. Today, on January 9th, people around the world celebrate Simone de Beauvoir's birthday. They read her books, discuss her ideas, and honor her legacy. She is remembered as a trailblazer, a thinker, and a fighter for justice. Her life is a testament to the power of ideas and the importance of standing up for what you believe in. Simone de Beauvoir once wrote, "Freedom is not a gift received from others, but a choice made for oneself." She chose freedom every day of her life, and she inspired others to do the same. Her story is a reminder that one person can make a difference, and that the pursuit of knowledge and justice is a lifelong journey. As we celebrate her birthday, we remember her words, her work, and her unwavering commitment to a better world.